Just as the Cats lost, Mike. 40 out of 41. They've won down there, but they lost the big one.
They did. They played a very, very good team, Jared. There's no doubt. Freo were fantastic, I reckon. The ground in the finish, I was critical of that decision for that game to be played there. But it probably suited... Did I say scandalous?
You went with scandalous, yeah.
But it probably suited Freo.
Well, it's very similar to Subiaco.
Yeah, and it was tighter, and they closed. But they are right in the premiership race, aren't they?
Yeah, look,
no doubt about that.
They're a really well-balanced team, and you know, if you thought Sandler's coming back just dominated the ruck, that was one of the question marks I guess we had early in the year when he went down and got injured. And you can just see here, you know, he's basically putting on a platter, absolute platter. I mean, he's 7 foot, just about tall, but certainly around Geelong, we were lauding Geelong's rucks about probably 2 months ago. The depth that they really struggled in that department.
Well, Advardy, Blitzars and you saw there Walker. Did they make the change and go back to Trent West?
I think they're going to have to.
Look at the graphic there. I mean, that's a dominant, hit-outs advantage, 16-2. Clearance is 36-12. Massive difference.
Jared, the bloke that you like, Dawson Simpson, he's
been
not
a big
very
loss,
long. He's been a heavy loss for them.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have been. He's the perfect. Ideally suited for Sandylands,
definitely.
And he's out injured, so they miss him too. Again, talking about blokes getting the ball, you know a bloke called Michael Barlow? When you coach against them, can you actually pay him some respect and have someone within 30 metres of him?
I mean, his ability to get the football is just... I mean, he did this at VFL level. That's why he got drafted eventually, but he's been continually doing this, and his ability to get out into space, his ability to read the play, he's an absolute...
and he's a better... The knock on him was his kicking. He straightened that up a bit, hasn't he?
He's such a smart player. I mean, for a slow player, he's got so much time and space. He's very rarely rushed with the ball, and that allows him to deliver it adequately.
Jared touched on Stevie J and Crowley. Now, Johnson ran amok in the first quarter.
9 possessions, 2 goals.
12 possessions, 2 goals. And then Crowley went to him, and then there they are. There's the shake of the hands after the game. Now, Crowley's obviously said something to him that Stevie didn't like.
Well, what did he say, Mike, that you know that he might have upset him?
Well, I think it might be a bit like those... A couple of the Geelong boys said, you're old and you're in trouble, I think, to paraphrase, Jared. And I think Johnson took exception to it. And then Crowley, for some reason, went to Joel Selwood, who he normally runs with, to maybe explain his case. But I mean, if it's sledging on the footy field, is that a problem?
Well, as long as it's within the accepted boundaries of sledging, then it's not a problem.
It's not racist or sexist or whatever the other things.
Telling a bloke he's too old for the game.
I don't have a problem with that.
No. I wouldn't have thought. Well, I wouldn't have thought he would have said that after the game. You saying that?
Well,
it looked like he went up to shake Johnson's hand, and Johnson sort of tried to push him away.
Did you see the mouth?
Well, I'd have to look at it again, to be honest. But I wouldn't.
Johnson shook his hand, and then
pushed him away.
I think there was a verbal exchange.
No, the verbal exchange is after the push. So look, I don't know what was said, but I would be surprised. Maybe Crowley did say that, but I'd be surprised you'd do it after the game.
Nevertheless,
I don't think he's asking where he was having a beer afterwards. Yeah.
Sanderlands the big fist. Oh, look at that hill. Change somehow off the interchange bench and into his hands. Maybe it's Fremantle's day. Walters is on. Hill keeps going. This to send them into a home preliminary final. For the first time in their history, the Dockers 1 win away from the grand final.
Glorious scenes for the Fremantle Dockers and Ross Lyon. Well, he's been on the end of a couple of dud bounces in finals in previous eras, but that one in particular to Stephen Hill was quite superb and set up one of the great finishes. The question to you, Mike, is, was it deliberate?
Well, I just asked Rusey, though. I mean, as bizarre as it sounds, what else was Aaron Sandilands thinking when he shot it straight to the boundary line, the interchange area?
Do you reckon he heard the call over the shoulder?
Well,
hey? It was certainly a hit out to advantage. He gave him double the points.
He's the wild card. We've said this before. Stephen King. Stephen Hill.
Here it is again.
It's a good hit.
Straight off.
I think he might have been trying to get out of bounds just quietly. But,
well, it certainly set it up, didn't it? It's fascinating to see a game where great players like Stephen Hill, when they're left unchecked, can dominate. And he was allowed to do so.
He was, and he'll cut someone up if he's given that room to move.
Again.
Yeah, no, look, he's so smooth with the ball, isn't he? I mean, and you'd think that... I know Geelong don't have run with players, but you'd think he's a 100-metre player, as we saw then. You know, you just got to cut him off. You can't let him get his steam up and get involved in the game as much as he did.
When you're coaching the D's, everybody is going to look at the Dockers and say, this is the sort of pressure we need to bring to the table week in, week out. And the Dockers have been doing it for a couple of years now, and the results are on the table. Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, what they do is there's a commitment to team defence. Look at the purple guys all running back and supporting, you know, and the ability to put pressure on Mike at all areas of the ground, just that outnumber. Yeah, that they get to the contest. Here it is again, 2, 3, you know, 4, there's Pearce there, Barlow coming in. So they're manic towards the football, and then they slide up to the football, and then there's nowhere for the Cats blokes to go. I mean, and yeah, they've got a home final now.
The timing's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Maybe even with Pav. Pav was slow to get into his season. He's now had plenty of work in his legs. Wasn't as accurate as he should have been on the weekend, but still marked the footy well and kicked well, just was a bit off. So everything's falling into place.
Is it fair to say this is probably the first week that they're potentially, the preliminary final, going to have their best side together on the park at one time if Michael Johnson is available?
Well, we know going into finals, it's about timing. I mean, this team's timing. Now they've got a week off. So Sandlin's comes in. You know, only when you play 2 or 3 you start to get a bit sore. All of a sudden, Pavlich has played, get a bit sore. Now they got a week off. So you're actually coming into the preliminary final with your best team, all really healthy. McFarlane gets through the game, gets a week off, gets some good training into him, and he's cherry ripe again. So the timing of this team's excellent.
Now, you're a coach and you're a very, very good commentator. I want you to identify someone for me. Let's just have a look at his details and see when you can crack it.
That's Max Hudson's brother.
He's from Morningside in Queensland originally.
And Max was from Queensland, was he?
He played. Not only did he play for Central Districts in the Sandful, he played there for 5 years.
Right.
With 2 SANFL premierships.
Yeah. One of Roosie's recruits, is he? Max's brother.
He's rookie listed by a club in 2012, and he's 2 games away from playing in a grand final. Well, he's one game away.
1 game away, yeah.
My name is? You like him, Jared. Do you recognise him?
I do now.
That's Lee Spurd. No, that's young Lee Spurd.
That's young Lee Spurd.
Everybody knows 26.
That's right.
What a player.
Yeah, great player, very good. And look, there's the merit of about getting those mature age players. 5 years. Not many people can answer that in all seriousness. 5 years in the Central Districts, rookie listed player, now one of the real stars of that team.
Well, I heard him called young Lee Spurd a dozen times by a dozen commentators over the weekend, because I think we all believe he just came through off the rookie list, but he has, you've just said, Mike, he's been around for a long time.
Isn't the contrast, I really was fascinated at the weekend. Carlton's 3 best players were all #1 draft picks. Judd, Murphy and Gibbs. Freo's 3 best players were all rookie listed. Sandilands, Barlow and Spur.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you saw his intercept marking there. They're in awe of him over there, just how tough he is. So he's been a great
It's great for blokes who are toiling away in the lower competitions. To get the chance.
And that's one of the beauties of the 18 teams. I mean, you got a lot more jobs available, and you got teams now looking more closely at VFL, Sandful, Waffle, different leagues. We saw Rampy come out of the Sydney Football League. So there is more opportunity for players now.